You already know this video is serious if I'm dressed like this. This is a serious video, guys. Today we are going to be talking about Ren Fairs for beginners, how to get into it, how to get started, what to expect, things to bring, all that good stuff. I get so many questions regarding this on my Ren Faire videos, and I figured now was the perfect time to answer all of these questions for you, especially since Ren Faire season is upon us. Now, before we dive into this video, let's talk about what a Renaissance Fair is, in case you don't know. So the Renaissance Fair actually started here in California in 1963 by Ron and Phyllis Patterson and the nonprofit organization Living History Center. The original event was a reenactment of an English village in the 1580s. It offered food, things to buy, street actors, and stage shows. But now Ren Fairs have changed quite a bit. People dress in cosplay, they dress in fantasy. It's kind of like a free-for-all. I even see Halloween costumes sometimes. And it's not strictly a historical reenactment, although some are more historical than others, and I personally like that. But for the most part, it's very fantasy, free-for-all, kind of dress however you want, or don't dress up at all if you don't want to. That's pretty much what it is. It's just an event that will show some historical accuracy depending on the location, the state that it's in, and it consists of fun shows, shopping, people in cool costumes, and eating good food and drinking lots of alcohol if you would like to do that. So one of the main questions I get asked quite a bit is this a LARP? Am I going to feel out of the loop on what's going on? This is quite literally just an event with a bunch of shows, food, drinks, activities that you can partake in like any other sort of festival, like the Scottish festival or the Irish festival, the Italian festival. It's literally the same thing, except this is based around a 1580s village with lots of fantasy mixed in. So that is the theming of it. It's just a themed event. It really is meant for everyone. You don't have to be a specific type of person to be able to go to this. I've had quite a few people say they did not want to go because they thought that a lot of people would be in character and it would be uncomfortable for them, or they wouldn't know what to do or what to say. But this event is what you make it. You don't have to go in costume at all. You can just come as a normal person and see what's going on and people watch. You don't have to be committed to anything at all. Just enjoy yourself. Or you can come in full costume like this. You can talk in an accent the entire time. You can go up to people and have a character almost as if you're playing D&D in real life. And you know, that's a whole other experience. It really just depends what you want out of it. So don't think you have to be super into fantasy or history in order to go. Another question I commonly get asked, especially from people that are in anywhere other than North America, is where can I find the Renaissance Fair? So the Renaissance fairs specifically are in North America, but there are other fairs that are similar that are more based around historical accuracy, which again, in my opinion, I would prefer that. They just go by different names. Things to look up are historical reenactments, medieval festivals, and Renaissance festivals or pleasure fairs. Those are all of my Google search terms for these events. Another question I get commonly asked is, how is the community of people? I know that in certain states, some people might feel uncomfortable going to a Renaissance fair depending upon their political views and the political views of the state. Now, I can't speak for everyone, but in my experience, I've never experienced any judgment. In fact, I see it as a judgment-free zone. Ren Fairs attract very creative, unique individuals, and quite literally, we're just all a bunch of nerds. I did get this question a lot when I went to the Texas Renaissance Festival, and that festival, of all of them that I've been to, was hands down the most accepting. Hands down. If you saw my video, you'll understand. So I would never say, you know, don't go to a Ren Fair in a certain state, because you could be missing out on a really fun event and the opportunity to meet some really cool, like-minded people. Another question I get often is, do you have to dress up? And the simple answer is no. You just do whatever you want. don't think that just because you don't have a costume, you can't enjoy the festivities. You can't join in on a random dance you're passing. You can't go talk to a pirate and exchange gifts. Like, you can do all that without being in a costume. But if you do want to wear a costume, there are many approaches you can take. You can wear a Halloween costume. If that's something you already have, just wear that. If you want to dress up, you can aim for something that's a little more fantasy. You can do more cosplay, or you can just wear a sundress. It's just, you do whatever you want. You do you, boo-boo. That's it. You just do whatever you want. So another question I get, and this is something that I have to think about a lot, is can you go to Ren Fairs alone? The answer is yeah, but obviously it's pretty stressful going to things like this alone. I almost went alone the last time I went. Yeah, I mean, I personally have been looking for a good community to start going with because I don't have anyone. And it's been hard. And what I've been trying to do is find D&D groups to join and LARP communities that I can go with during Ren Fair season. So that's what I've been trying to do. So if you're looking for people to go with because you have no one, that's what I would recommend because that's what I'm currently doing. And that's why I've been getting into LARPing. So now we're going to talk about some of my tips and then we'll hop into everything else. I know this is going to be a long video, but you're going to have to stick it out with me, okay? Because I'm going to be answering a lot of your questions that you may have and giving you tips and tricks that I truly live by for every Ren Fair I go to now. So that way I don't waste my time when I go and I get the best experience possible, especially because I film these events. So everything has to be timed out and planned very strategically. So take it from me. I know what's up. So the first tip I have for you, if you're going for the first time, is to go with the right people. The people you go with are either going to make or break your experience. Take it from me, okay? You have to go with people that are going to enjoy themselves, that are willing to have fun with you. Maybe they want to dress up, maybe they're outgoing, maybe they want to like make friends, because if you cannot go with people like that, it is just going to dampen the entire experience. So make sure you choose friends that actually want to be there and talk to people and get involved in what's going on, because otherwise it's just not nearly as fun. If you go and you're super introverted, honestly, it might not be the event for you, because I feel like most of the event is in doing the things that aren't on the map, that aren't during the shows. It's doing all the in-between stuff, like talking to people, going up to people and asking if you can play a game with them, joining in on these activities that the historical reenactors put on, or going and joining a dance. Like, it's those things that make it extra special. And you're just not gonna find those things if you're with the wrong person. So I don't know, that's just my advice. Another really cool thing that you can do at Ren Fairs is you can bring little trinkets, little gifts, and you can gift them to people to maybe become friends or just because.
I just made them last minute,
oh,
like
they're
last
so
night.
sweet.
So.
You got a mushroom child?
I have a
Oh, the baby!
So some things that I like to bring are handmade trinkets. It could literally be anything, or it could be something that someone gifted you and I will re-gift it because I don't want to keep it all to myself. I want to share. I want to pass it along. I also made a sachet at the last Renaissance Festival. This is something that is historically accurate. It has some lavender on the inside, rose petals, and it was meant to either ward off bad spirits or meant to be worn on you so you would smell better. So I think this is a really cute gift, and I mean, it smells really good. Or I'll just give out little crystals that I have, or some tiny trinkets that I have found from like jewelry. So yeah, little things like that just make the experience extra special. And I guarantee, if you were there and you show up in costume, someone is going to gift you something. It always happens. I love it. I love it. My next tip is to ask questions. If you go in and you just grab a map, there are a lot of things not on that map that you will miss out on if you don't go up to the people that are volunteering there and be like, hey, tell me things that I can do. Is there a quest I can go on? Can I go over here to this tent and do this? Can I help you? Can you tell me what you're doing? You have to talk to people. You have to ask questions, because There's never just someone standing there being like, hi, you can talk to me, I'll tell you what to do here if you've never been. You just have to go up yourself and ask people, and this is really where having someone outgoing with you or being outgoing in general is very, very helpful to your experience. Like, for instance, there was a bunch of medieval games that were being played, and you could go up and just join and play in them for free in front of the queen, but you had to just go up and ask if you could do it. They didn't say like, hey, we're doing games. You just had to go up and do it. And this has happened with a lot of different events I've gone to where there will be historical reenactment tents, and you can actually go in and you can talk to them, and they will talk to you as if they are from that time. They will tell you facts and things that they are doing within the tent and how you can do them too, and you can participate, but you have to ask. So always ask questions. Another question you can ask besides, what can I do? What can I participate in? What can you tell me about this, or this, is you can ask to join a guild. Now, this is not at every Ren Fair, but Ren Fairs that have historical reenactments, you can indeed ask this, or you can even ask for a tour of their guild. My next tip is, if you see something going on, if you see a group of people running down the street and they're chasing someone with weapons, if you see someone getting married at the chapel, go up and join.
I want to join. I want to join.
There's so much that you can miss out on when you don't do this. And honestly, this is kind of even a life lesson, because think of all the things in life that you've maybe attended where you saw something was going on, but you didn't join. It's the same thing. It's the same thing, because there have been many times when I would see something happening and I would be too timid to join because I was alone, and I missed out. I missed out on the fun. I missed out on the community aspect of it. I missed out on connecting with really cool people and also learning something. Join whatever you see is happening around you. And if your Ren Fair has a chapel, remember, you can go and get married. You can go and get married for fun.
We gathered here today so the fan padre can marry this guy. All that time. You're sure this one the one you want to marry? The many out there for you, you know. Many choices.
Hey!
He's got a big sword.
Look at the size of my sword.
Grab your friend and be like, let's go get married at the chapel. People will come and join, they'll sit down, there's a whole speech, like, it's fun. It's literally improv. There's a day of improv for adults. When you figure out what Ren Fair you're going to go to, get on TikTok, search the Ren Fair, and see what shows pop up, what experiences pop up, because that is how I have found the best shows and the best experiences without even knowing they existed. It was only because of TikTok. Like, for instance, at the Irwindale Ren Fair here in California, there's something called the Naughty Bar. This is not stated on the map at all. Maybe if you asked someone, they would tell you, but how would you know to ask if you didn't know what it was? It's just this random bar that if you go to it, they do this.
All right, here we go. That's right, you nasty little thing right on that. Oh, I love how you're tasting my elixir, my forbidden fruit. Look at me, you nasty little girl that you are.
You slap, and this is to take the sting out. You drink this after.
There's literally no other way I would have known this existed if I didn't find it on TikTok. And same with the Texas Renaissance Festival. There was so much that I found out about camping at that Ren Fair that was not publicly known. Okay, so you've decided you're gonna try out the Ren Fair. You're interested, you're intrigued, you wanna give it a go. But first, you have to get your tickets. I recommend getting your tickets online. It's just the easiest way. Don't wait in the line to do it there. It doesn't make any sense, because then you'll have to wait in that line and the line to enter. Why would you do that? I think this goes without saying, but I'm trying to cover everything here. So once you have your tickets, which you will be able to buy on the website, along with any other experiences that you may want, like Tea with the Queen, that is a very well-known one, along with pub crawls that are at many Renaissance festivals where you hop from bar to bar and you try a bunch of drinks. Those experiences can be purchased online, but they can also be purchased in person when you get there. But if you actually want to do them, they normally get booked up pretty fast. Figure that out beforehand, but if it's your first time, I would say chill on doing that, because you're gonna miss everything. Plus, you can get drunk without doing the pub crawl. So now you have your tickets, it's time to check the weather and see what you're gonna wear. You gotta dress appropriately for these events. But we'll get to clothing in a separate section, but always check the weather just in case you need to bring like a raincoat, a jacket, you know the deal. I'm assuming you know this. I know you know this. You're smart. You're the smartest. Like, come on, you know this. As for arrival time, honestly, it's whenever you want to go. I have some friends that went at like 2 in the afternoon, it closed at 7. That's just what they wanted to do. I personally, because I'm filming, I always show up upon opening. It's normally pretty packed and there's a long line to get in just because everyone's going in at the same time. And if you go later in the afternoon, you're not really going to get that line because everyone's already there or they have already left. And in terms of the parking situation, I've only been to 2 Ren Fairs that kind of had one way in, one way out, and that was in Colorado and in California. And California was the absolute worst. It took me about 45 minutes to get to the parking lot. It was absurd. So that being said, you might have to wait if it's one road in, one road out. That's just the way it is. And if you want to miss the traffic, the best idea is to show up not right on time, not in the morning. It would be to show up later, but then again, you're missing a lot of the day, and there's so much to do in a day there that if you're going for the first time, you probably want all the hours you can get. It's up to you. I don't know what I'm saying. It's up to you whenever you want to go. So the main things that I bring are cash. Most places are cash only, although I've been to Ren Fairs where it's not cash only, they take card. That's rare. Just make sure you bring cash beforehand. I normally just bring 100. I never spend it all. Food's relatively cheap for the most part. I think the most expensive food I had was at the Texas Renaissance Fair, and that was a turkey leg for $18. The next thing I bring is a water bladder and snacks. So this is a water bladder. It is for hiking. I just don't like to be without water personally. I don't like trying to go find a water fountain or go and buy a water if I don't have to. I just like having it on me at all times. And this is for, hiking, and I love it. It fits in my bag. And if you don't want to carry your water in a water bladder, I totally get that. Something I do, and I do this even when I have my water bladder, is I bring my tankard and I attach it to my belt, and I can go fill up water anywhere, or I can just fill up water from my container, just hold it and drink it. For some reason, I just like having this with me and drinking from it. You can also get some glass bottles that have a leather strap from places like Amazon, or you can get a real leather strap to hold glass bottles at the Ren Fair, and those are really cute and aesthetic. You can also get the round potion bottles. You can put food coloring in them, you can put Gatorade in them, you can put glitter in them, make them look like a potion, and you can drink it. I've also seen at the Texas Renaissance Fair, although this was at the campground. So these little tiny potion bottle pouches that you can buy. One of my friends filled his with alcohol and dyed them all different colors. So when he was at the campgrounds and he would make a friend, he would gift them a shot. Another item you could get would be a canteen. I personally don't have one, but these are great. The next thing I always bring is I always bring snacks. I know you can get food throughout the day, but sometimes depending on what Ren Fair you're at, there could be long lines for food. This, I would say, is pretty rare, but the only long lines I have experienced were in California, and it was about like 40 minutes to get food. I'm not even kidding. So I remember that day specifically, I had no snacks and I was so mad. I didn't bring any. So now I always bring snacks with me. I'll bring Cliff Bars, I'll bring like nuts, so I can go and do more without having to stop and eat every 5 seconds, because that's the type of person I am. But yeah, so I bring snacks. The next thing to bring is either sunblock, a hat, or an umbrella, or a parasol. These events normally have like very little shade. I would highly recommend the umbrella or the parasol. And with that, another good item to bring is a handheld fan, like one of these, because they go with your outfit and they're super useful when it's hot. You can also get a battery operated fan that has a mister, which is it's great. Some other items I bring are hand sanitizer, just because sometimes they don't have sinks. Depending on what I'm wearing, I'll bring Band-Aids for blisters just in case. I always bring ibuprofen because the last thing I want is to get a headache when I'm doing something fun. It would just ruin everything for me. And I bring sunglasses and chapstick. And that's what goes in my bag. Now, if you're asking yourself, what do you put all your stuff in? This is what I use. So the main bag I use is this because it holds my camera, my microphone, and all my other stuff along with my water bladder. My other backpack I use is this one. This is my camera bag, and if I'm bringing a lot of stuff, like when I go to 𝚌𝚘𝚖𝚎 coming up, I'm going to be bringing this. I like this bag because it's a canvas material, it has the pleather, and it looks fitting into the vibe of medieval times. Obviously it's not, but like, you know what I mean. Another good bag, which you probably know, is this Ecosusi bag, and it has all these cute details on it, and I see this bag a lot at Renaissance fairs. It's pretty big, and it can hold my water bladder and everything I just mentioned. Yeah, this is a cute bag if you're wanting like a crossbody bag and you don't want to go with a backpack. I normally just go with a backpack because this, unfortunately, is not big enough to hold my camera because of the shape. And lastly, to hold my phone, my chapstick, my cash, my credit cards, all that stuff, this goes on my belt. It's perfect, it's out of the way, and this is what holds like my main essential stuff. So that is how I carry my things aesthetically and not so aesthetically. Once you get into the Renaissance fair, you're going to want to grab a map immediately. Immediately start looking at the show times. I would even recommend looking at them prior to even going. I do this because I try to arrange my day very strategically, and it's necessary for me to do that. So I know all the show times beforehand. I know which ones I'm going to. I know the times I have to be there, and so on and so forth. But when you're looking at the map, you want to look for the bathrooms, because I've been to some Ren fairs where the bathrooms are on opposite sides of the park. It's always good to know that beforehand. Just so you know where to go, and you're not like running around having to pee. I hate that. As for shows, there's no way you are going to see all of the shows. I've been to a Ren fair 2 days back to back many times, and I never finish all the shows. And I try. I really try. I can never do it. There's just too many things to see. There really is. So what I do in order to decide which shows I'm going to and the times is I go to the shows that are closest to the entrance and slowly make my way to the back. The reason I do this is because normally the joust is at the back of the park. At every fair I've been to, this is the case. And the best joust of the day is typically the last joust. And this is the joust to the death, which is the one you want to see because there's a full-on sword fight and someone goes to forever sleep. That is the show I always see last. At every Ren fair, I always do this. So this is what I find to be the most beneficial in terms of not walking as much so my feet don't hurt, and just kind of taking my time going through and stopping at each show along the way without having to overexert myself and run all over the park. We are going to the joust. Huzzah. And since we're speaking about the joust, you have to know if you are going to go to the joust, especially the last one of the day, you have to show up 30 to 45 minutes early, okay? If you don't, you'll get awful seats. And the reason you need to show up this early is because you have to be in the front. They don't have microphones. Therefore, it's kind of hard to hear what's going on if you are far away. So you need to get the best seats possible. You want to be in front. You want to be able to see what's going on. If you're super far away and you can't hear anything, it's just not as exciting. Yeah, people might be screaming and blah, 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 but it's really not the same. So you have to go early. You have to get a good seat because it's one of the best shows they have at every Ren fair. So it's the one show you want to wait for and get good seats for. And this is where having that umbrella will come in, because if you're sitting, waiting in the heat, in the sun, you're gonna want that with you. I promise. You'll thank me later, I promise. Now let's talk about shopping. Some people like to think of Ren fairs as a big shopping event. I kind of understand where they're coming from, truly, I do. You will find some vendors at these events that are selling things from Amazon. I see it all the time, they're upcharging. Obviously, you can tell if something's handmade from something that's not handmade. And if you do find something that you truly love and you want to support that person, just know a lot of these vendors that do these Ren fairs specifically, they normally have no online presence, meaning you cannot buy anything from them online. Their main source of income comes from selling things at the Ren Fairs in person. So if there was something that you saw that you absolutely wanted, it might be your only opportunity to get it. So if you find something and you like it, right? Maybe ask for a business card and see if they have a website, if you're not like open to buying it. Another really cool thing to mention though is that at Ren Fairs, you will most of the time find at least one seller who is making historical clothing, historically accurate clothing. If you're going to check out any store, go check out theirs and talk to them about it.
These are actual historical drawings that were made during the Renaissance, and I use them as my source material for things to make. For instance, these cute little dresses for kids are based on little children Peter Bruegel's drawings that he made in the late 1400s. People who love history and come to fair to see the historical clothing really like it. I call my shop the traditional Renaissance fair clothing because when it first started, everybody was really into the historical nature of the show.
It was so inspiring, and it was really nice to know that some people are actually staying true to what the event was originally supposed to be. Finding those places can be really cool just to like learn something, but also to support them as well. Regarding food, most of the food is going to be cash, which I mentioned before. You are going to find an array of foods here, and if you are wanting to get something, I say try something that's unique, you know, try something that you haven't had before. Don't just go and get a hot dog. I don't think they have hot dogs. That was just an example. But there are always so many different unique foods that you can find at Ren Fairs. You might as well try the cool things if you can. You know, don't go for the basic things. Unless you're a picky eater, I understand. But like me personally, I'm like, what is this weird contraption? And then I'll eat that. It's the whole fun of it. Another question I get asked regarding food is typically how much do I spend in a day when I go there to eat? If I'm eating 2 meals, I'm definitely going to spend probably under $30. So it's really not that bad. It's not that bad. Now regarding my Ren Faire clothing, I'm not gonna lie to you. If you're gonna dress up, you are going to have to accept that you're gonna be a little bit uncomfortable, you're gonna be hot, you're gonna be sweaty, you're gonna smell. If you meet someone there that you like and they talk to you again, it's true love, because you're gonna be kind of a mess, which makes it even more fun. Also, I tend to thrift all of my items that I have for my fantasy wear, except the items I've bought in person that you've seen on this channel. And the items that I have thrifted, like for instance, this polyester shirt, which is, I'm wearing it as a skirt right now. I love it, but it makes me sweat so bad because it's polyester. I've noticed that the more higher quality items that I now own that are made of 100% cotton, oh my gosh, they're so much more breathable when it is hot outside. It makes a huge difference in trying to stay more comfortable when you're out and about doing things like this in the sun. So try to look for something that is cotton or linen. So as for my shoes, I wear combat boots with inserts just for comfort reasons. I only have one pair of shoes that I will wear to the Ren Fair, and that's them. Another thing regarding clothing is don't wear your best outfit, meaning don't wear something you would not want to get ruined because you're gonna be sitting in dirt. Okay, this might be me. I get a little rowdy at these events, okay? Don't wear something you don't want to get dirty, because you will get dirty, and that's okay. The next thing to note is that you do not have to dress to theme. So they have themed weekends, pirate themed, Viking themed. You don't have to dress to that theme at all. That's mostly just for the people that work there to dress to a theme. So if you want to participate, you can, but you do not have to. Any weekend, you are more than welcome to dress however you want. So don't think that it's pirate weekend, I don't have an outfit, I can't go. No, you can go. You're good. You're good. Now, if you were going when it is cold, something I would recommend is obviously bring a jacket, but also bring a cloak that you can put over the jacket so that way you kind of stick to a theme. I don't know, this is my random tip because it covers your jacket so you feel like you fit in still. And the last thing I wanted to talk about were weapons. So during these events, you are allowed to bring weapons. I have seen real swords, but they will do something called peace tie them, where they put zip ties to the sheath and you can bring them in. So I do have LARP safe weapons that I personally like to bring because I practice my sword spinning with these. So although I would like a real sword, I can't spin it. It would just sit on my wall. Can't fight anyone with that. Let me know if you know what movie this is from, but having a sword or some type of weapon is a nice addition to your outfit. Plus,
Lanchen has been challenged to a duel. Does she have what it takes?
Sometimes you might even encounter someone that wants to duel you. So it's quite fun having a weapon on hand. Okay, so I feel like that covers everything I wanted to mention. If there was anything you feel like I missed that you wanted me to answer, you can just drop those questions below in the comments section and I'll get back to you there. But yeah, I think that covers everything. Hopefully you found this helpful and it inspires you to go to your first Renaissance fair. Don't be afraid, go with the right people and just have the best time of your life. And if you want to check out my other Renaissance Festival videos, I will put some here for you to check out. And I think that's it. Thanks so much for being here, hanging out with me today. I know it was such a long video, but I always appreciate you tuning in and watching. And I'll see you guys at the next Renaissance Festival. Bye.